Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you for a decent to good movies of 2022 part 3 video this time. And sorry that I took a little bit to do this part 3 video. I just had to work this morning and I had to get off early from work this morning because it started raining. Because my job's an outside job, of course, but yeah, it's something at least. So basically, I'm going to discuss from 10 to 1 what I watched for this each movie and all that I watched during the year and all that, and why I put them in the top 10, and let you know my thoughts on each movie that I'm going to be discussing about in the top 10, which is from 10 to 1. So let's dive right into this decent to good movies of 2022 part 3 video. Now, this is the final part, of course, so hopefully you enjoy the final part for this decent to good movies topic for the end of the year video. Number 10 is X, and this was it was a solid movie. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing in my opinion, but it made it in the top 10 because it was pretty interesting of a movie. Technically it'd be a different movie that'd be in the top 10, but I chose this one only because the it is a little sick of a movie and a little twisted. And basically it's an A24 movie, and it was interesting. Mia Goth plays as one of the main characters in the movie. I can't remember the main character's name. I have to watch this movie again to see what I think of it in as of now, because it's grown on me a bit, but in a way to where I think it's a simple and not too complex movie. It's just uh they're trying to make a pornographic film, and then what happens is uh, everything spirals downhill and things start getting twisted, and this lady named Pearl starts killing each and every one of the people that are filming and starring in the porno film. So it's pretty messed up. So, if you haven't seen this movie this year, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a solid movie. It's not the best movie, but it's in the top 10, of course, in my top 10. So, at number 10 is X. Right at number 9 is Dog. Now, this has Channing Tatum in it. He plays as Ranger Briggs, and Lulu is the dog. Um, so basically, the dog is like Lulu is her name. So it's a female, of course, and basically she's a Belgian Malinois, I believe is how you say it in the right way. Um, so basically, uh, one of the owners of the dog previously did decide to kill himself, unfortunately, which that's pretty sad to hear. And so, Ranger Briggs, also known as Channing Tatum, has to watch over the dog, and uh, basically he's taking the dog to a certain facility in California or whatever, somewhere in California, and is most definitely wanting to take the dog there, just unfortunately to be euthanized, but because he can't take care of the dog at first, and then he starts to grow attached to the dog, Lulu, in due time, as time goes on throughout majority of the movie, and then they become best friends, of course. So he starts bonding with the dog a bit more. So it's an interesting movie. Um, so I highly recommend you check this out. It was a good movie, one of the good movies of 2022 for sure. So at number 9 is the movie Dog. I actually got it on Blu-ray a few weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. Got it from Amazon for a good deal. I only paid like $3 for it off a $5 discount deal. Um, they deducted $5 from its original price, which was $8, and I was like, okay, might as well get it. So number 8 is Scream. the Scream 5 movie, of course. Um, Pretty much this movie was good. I haven't really watched it digitally yet because I haven't had time to watch it. I paid like $5 for the movie on my Xbox, but haven't come around to watching it yet. But I do plan on watching it soon. If you have seen this movie earlier this year, definitely check it out. It's a movie worth seeing, and it's a good movie. It's grown on me a lot more than I thought, and some of the script is not too bad. Um, there's some sequences in the movie I don't know if I'm feeling for, but other than that, solid movie and a good movie for sure. So at number 8 is Scream. They had Nev Campbell playing as Sydney in the movie, and bringing back the old cast, of course, Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Uh, so pretty interesting cast, of course, and from the very beginning. And unfortunately, Nev Campbell's not going to be in the sixth one because she found out she's not going to be getting paid much to do the sixth one, and she was saying, "Okay, I'm done." So she doesn't want to be a part of the sixth one, unfortunately. But Jenna Ortega and a few other actors and actresses did pretty well in the movie. So definitely check this movie out if you haven't seen it this year. It came out back in January, but did come out on DVD in April. So I highly recommend you check it out. So at number 8 is Scream 5. At number 7 is DC League of Super Pets, I meant to say. I said Legend. Please forgive me on that. DC League of Super Pets was a good movie in its own way. Dwayne Johnson plays as Superman's dog or whatever. Uh, it's a more fictional movie and an animated film, but it's interesting. It's a good movie for what it went for, so I put it in the top 10 because, yeah, it wasn't that bad of a movie. So at number 7 is DC League of Super Pets. They did have basically a cutscene at the end of the movie or whatever, like a post-credit scene, which was pretty interesting. So I was like, interesting. So it was something. So at number 7 is DC League of Super Pets. Number 6 is Prey, the Predator movie. Now, I was pretty interested in how it explains about the Native American culture in this movie. So, and basically, it's about the Predator going after uh, the people that were trying to attack him, of course, and standing ground on their territory, of course, until the Predator just kicks their ass and kills them. So, basically, the Predator is a ruthless creature for sure. So, this is a fictional movie, but it has some interesting, interesting storyline to it. And I actually enjoyed the Native American girl that played in this movie. She was great in this movie, in my opinion, and her performance was pretty excellent. So, highly recommend you check this movie out if you haven't seen it on Hulu. It came out back in August, but it's a well worth watching film. So, at number 6 is Prey. Number 5 is Hustle, the Adam Sandler movie. It's a biography movie about this basketball player from Russia, I think, or something like that. And he basically pretty much recruits him into his fold or whatever so he can play basketball for him and go big and all that. So it's pretty interesting of a movie. I think it's a good movie. There have been some sequences I wasn't sure if I was feeling for in the movie, like certain scenes, but other than that, good movie in its own way. It made it in my top 5, of course. So at number 5 is Hustle. Alright, at number 4 is She Said. Now, this was about the Harvey Weinstein thing. Sorry, I was moving my DVD or whatever. The Harvey Weinstein case that the New York Times is trying to uncover, and basically, it's a pretty lengthy movie. It's like a little over 2 hours, but it's interesting of a movie on how it was. They released it at the kind of the perfect time, I guess, or around this time because the Harvey Weinstein thing was pretty serious. So, and pretty shitty what he was doing and fucked up too. So basically, in my opinion, She Said was an interesting movie. It was a good movie. It made it in my top five, of course. So at number 4 is She Said. Alright, at number 3 is Cha Cha Real Smooth. Now, this one was a Apple TV movie. So I watched it online, of course, but I kind of enjoyed this movie when I watched it back in June this year. I was a little impressed with this movie. So, the guy Andrew in this movie, the actor that plays Andrew in this movie, was an interesting character and was wanting to go to college, and then he had to get an actual job being a bar mitzvah or something, a party goer or whatever like that. So he's uh, cheering up the, livening up the party at bar mitzvahs or so like that, something like that. But it's interesting. So I highly recommend you check this movie out. It has a good script for sure. It would have been my number one, but something else made my number one, of course. So at number 3 is Cha Cha Real Smooth. Alright, at number 2 is The Fablemans. Now, this was a good movie for sure. Definitely recommend you guys check this movie out if you haven't seen it. It's basically about this coming of age story where this guy, this kid Fableman or whatever, I recently watched it, but I can't honestly remember because it was recently. But it was an enjoyable movie for sure. So definitely check this movie out for yourself to see what you think of it. It's an interesting story about the Fablemans. They're a Jewish family, of course, and Steven Spielberg did direct this movie, and he did a good job on this movie for sure. So I was a little impressed with it. So at number 2 is The Fablemans. I almost thought this was going to be a musical at first. I was getting worried. I was like, oh God, please don't be another West Side Story. Even though West Side Story was an interesting movie, it didn't. It's not something I'd come back to, and I was so excited for that movie earlier this year. So sorry for fanboying over that movie for the beginning of the year. I haven't really returned to that movie ever since I watched it, but hey, still. At number 2 was The Fablemans, and finally at number 1, drum roll please, Devotion. Now, this was a movie about the forgotten Korean War in the 1950s, and it stars Jonathan Majors, and Joe Jonas is in this movie, plays as a certain side character, Marty. So I was pretty interested in this movie. Jesse Brown is one of the pilots, the black naval pilot, of course, the first black American. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. The first black American naval pilot to be in the Navy, of course, in the 1950s. But it was a good movie for what it went for. It's one of the goodest movies of the year, and I personally like this movie. It's sad towards the end of the movie, and definitely go check out my movie review if you haven't seen it for Devotion. I just recently did it, and hopefully you enjoy it. So, yeah, Devotion made number 1, and I was really impressed with this movie. The ending, like I said, is sad, but I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. So at number 1 is Devotion. that's going to be it for this decent to good movies of 2022 video. Comment below. Let me know what your decent to good movies of 2022 are. If you've seen these movies that I mentioned in my top 10, and so on and so on, from numbers 36 to 1. If you enjoyed my list, of course, and if you did enjoy this decent to good movies of 2022 part 1 to 3 video, parts 1 to 3 or whatever. I'm fucking up with my wording or whatever and showing my hand signals or whatever, so please forgive me on that. Just a little tired, honestly, but the rain made me tired, honestly, when I was walking in it, coming home and all that, so I was like, fuck. But if you did enjoy this decent to good movies of 2022 video for parts 1 to 3 that I did for you guys from yesterday night, recording it and premiering it on the 13th and all the way to now, comment below and let me know your thoughts on this parts 1 to 3 video for decent to good movies of 2022 video. Tap like on this video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you can, support the channel. I will have another end of the year video coming out real soon. I thought I was going to do the Bush album, Marathon album discography reviews, Marathon studio album discography reviews, but that might have to wait till 2023, unfortunately. But I will do it in due time for sure, so definitely tune into that video. I hope you enjoyed this decent to good movies of 2022 videos. I did the best I could to make these videos as good as possible, and yeah, let me know what your list is from 36 to 1, if you have that many movies on your list that you personally think are decent to good. Let me know what they are in the comment section below. But with that being said, stay safe, guys. Take care. Hope you enjoyed this end of the year video for parts 1 to 3 for decent to good movies of 2022 videos. And as always, I will see you in my next review.